think that the school system is actually killing creativity?
There's creativity in everybody. Like there's no single person on earth that's not creative. I mean, look at the person who made this. Are you telling me the person is not creative? The person is a creative. If I have a child, my child says, and I see that my child has talent in cello, playing cello as an instrument.
Yeah.
I am not the parent to say you have to study law or you have to study medicine. I will not do that.
Well, not long ago, being artsy was, being seen as having no real ambition. You had your artists, content creators, musicians, actors. But lawyers, doctors, and CEOs, on the other hand, they got all the respect, while creatives were often overlooked. But today, it looks like that script has flipped. Now, everyone wants to be called a creative, with Nollywood as Nigeria's second largest employer according to World Bank report of 2020 and the music industry booming. Well, you can say that the creative industry is no longer just a passion, it is a powerhouse. But here's the question. As more people flock to the creative scene, are we seeing a true renaissance of talent, or is it just a trend? Like everything is, that would fade away as quickly as it rose. Well, I'm Praise Mba, and this is Workplace Whispers. And now joining me on this episode is a remarkable producer and filmmaker, whose work has garnered attention both nationally and internationally. Her works include the short film Monitoring Spirit, which has earned recognition at prestigious festivals such as the Africa International Film Festival and the Toronto Nollywood International Film Festival. Well, I can say, because we had a conversation, that she is passionate about storytelling, and not just any type of story, guys, but stories that reshape the African narrative. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome the amazing Toyin Ganiu.
I'm not sure I've ever heard my bio read like that before. It sounded like, wow. Okay.
That has to be the extra effect, because, I was going to sit down with a creative, so I had to put my A game on and make sure that you don't give me a run for my money. Because, you guys, the creative guys, you guys have a way of just making even the simple, mundane things look extra.
You keep saying you guys. Everybody has like some creative spirit in them. It just depends on wherever you are. There's creativity in everybody. Like there's no single person on earth that's not creative. I mean, look at the person who made this. Are you telling me the person is not creative? The person is a creative.
Yeah, so yeah, you are. You know why?
Yeah.
Because I would have said the same thing myself, because we always knew growing up that everybody has that creative side. I don't know, is it learned? Is it a skill? Is it something that you learn? Is it something that you're born with? Those are the conversations. But first, I really want to hear your story, because talking to you a while back before we had this interview, I got to know that you also operated in mainstream media before you ventured into film and cinema, done, broadcasting for a while, and now film and cinema. I somehow envy you, because I feel like your work is really, really interesting and exciting.
Oh, well,
yes.
Most days.
I feel like it's every day is beautiful. Every day is just nice. Just go to the studio and just think about the story, and then you shoot.
Interesting.
I really want to know, has it always been exciting? How's that journey been like for you?
Yeah, to be honest, I can't complain, because I've had a very interesting career, because I started out where I wanted to start out. I wanted to be in broadcasting. That was where I started out. It wasn't like I had to go do something else. So yeah, I started out on television as a producer and presenter for entertainment news, and it was really fun. Attending the best events in town.
News,
yeah, exactly. Covering the A-list events in time. It was great. It was fun, and I honestly didn't even complain, because it required you working on weekends, working sometimes overnights, depending on the times that the events were holding. Sometimes you're having shows holding overnight and all of that, and you have to still resume to work in the morning to report what you've covered over the night. So it was fun, and I really loved it. In fact, to the point where sometimes when I'm going back home late at night, there was a day I had to jump the fence or the gate or something, because it was locked and I needed to get to the house, and the street gate was locked. So when the office driver got to the gate and he was like, what are we going to do? He couldn't wait there because I wouldn't make him wait at that point because he needed to go back to the office, drop the car, and then go back home as well. So I was like, okay, you know what? Just move this car towards the gate. Let me climb it. Yeah, honestly.
Okay.
So I mean, that's the as much passion that I had, at the time. So. And then I moved on to radio, where for me, when I was in TV, people used to talk about my voice a lot. Oh, your voice is great, your voice is fantastic, and all of that. And I liked voiceover. I liked using my voice to tell stories. So I moved to radio, and I had the kind of creative license I probably didn't have before, because it meant that you could talk about varying issues. At the same time. So I think and then my film journey started because I wanted to tell more varying stories. I wanted to tell another form of story that you can't tell with television or with radio. And film was the medium for me to express that part of me. It was something that I had stories, I had stuff that I wanted to create, and I'm like,
maybe the mainstream medium was not giving you enough.
It wasn't giving me enough. So I thought, what, how hard can this be? So I decided to start in film.
Our stories do sound similar. For me, I think I was on radio for like 4 years. I was doing the morning show, covering all of those events, and there's a way Nigeria can be very I'm patriotic, I love my country, but with the news and the stories that you hear that come out of Nigeria can be so depressing. And then and it's so sad, because sometimes you talk about these issues and then you keep talking about these issues and it doesn't look like there's any end in sight.
Exactly.
So I'm like, and then my mental health, all of those things was just, I'm like, oh my, I think I need to take a chill pill on this. And having you say this and look for other mediums, still expressing what you're doing with your voice, I mean, it makes all the difference. So would you say that you are a creative?
Well, yes. I would say that.
Okay.
I would say that I'm a creative because, I mean, what does a creator do? I always say that everybody is a creator. You are a creator. I am a creator. Like, what makes you a creator, for example? What makes you a creator is once you have a thought that you can express, you can use your words to express those thoughts. I mean, like, you've created something, to be honest. Because if you look at the most popular films, the most popular music, the most popular, books written, they started from a thought. And we have thousands of these thoughts every day, every single, like your mind is never quiet.
Thinking.
Like exactly. The only time your mind is quiet is when you're sleeping. And even when you're asleep, you're still thinking. It's just really on a more subconscious level. So everybody has that in them, because you have a thought you express, and you have something that is in your mind. You're thinking about something. The way you look at the world is quite different from the way I see the world. So I am a creative.
And everybody's creative. So where did this whole frenzy of I am a creative come from? Now I'm asking this question because I feel like our generation, and I think you'd agree with me, we kind of love labels. Like, you hear things now like, imposter syndrome, ADHD, you hear things like mental health. Now, it doesn't look like these things didn't exist before. They have always been there, right? But now there is a label for it. I can just say, no, I'm not coming to work today, please. My mental health, my God. Oh my God, I feel, and imposter syndrome basically is you feeling like a fraud, feeling, and everybody has had that moment at least one point in their career. But now it's a thing. So is this whole idea of being a creative more like a label? Because you said something that everyone is creative. I used to work at an ad agency back in the day. You'd see that graffiti on the wall. Everyone is creative, so get creative. So do you think this is a label like every other thing?
Well, I think that labels, you put it like labels are bad, but I think that labels help us define who we are. When you talk about, for example, the example you gave about mental health, there was a time when people could not define what was wrong with them. They just knew they were not fine. But it's not physical. I can't touch it. I can't say, oh, it's a headache. It's not a headache. It's not a wound that everybody can see and say, oh, he has a wound. But it's something that is going on in your mind. And by labeling it, it helps you to decide. You can identify what it is. You can say, oh, this is exactly what is wrong with me. And this is how I can even begin to treat it. Because the moment you name something, you label it. then it becomes more valid. It becomes tangible.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's just a label. It's just I know that I've listened to some people who talk about how at some point people didn't believe that social media will become the thing that it is today, that somebody would be interested in watching somebody else walk their dog.
Yeah.
I'm
like, and the funny thing is that you see these things having thousands of
the
views.
most mundane things, like Kabi Lame, who would not even say anything
And
is just pointing at something. So
yeah.
Are you saying that that's not valid because everybody is doing it now? There are like over billions of people on the internet every day who are probably on TikTok, Instagram. That's it. So would you deny that? Are you entertained, for example, from what you see every day on the internet?
So is this because let's not forget where this question came from, creatives, right? So is that what it is, basically, an identity? Because can I say, for instance, a plumber is a creative? Is he a creative?
Yeah, because you're not a plumber, so you would not know. In the sense that, say, for example, there is a plumbing issue. There probably is a way he would creatively handle that problem that you would not know because you're not privy to it. You don't know what it looks like to fix this pipe normally, and then how you now had to think about, okay, so now this is not working here. What I know, the rules are not working at this particular point. So how can I find a way around it and solve this person's problem?
Creative solution.
Yeah, a creative solution to a problem. So I think that we all have it in us one way or another. And even if you're talking about the mainstream, creativity in that sense, I think that most people, like I said, the moment you can express words, you can express your thoughts, then that is a creative thing that you're doing. Because sometimes you find the most, like the conversation we're having, for example, you find it, probably somebody's listening to you talk and then they find it interesting, they find it educative or informative. So yeah, I think that it's not just a label. And labels are not even bad if that's the case. It's just a way for us to define who we are.
And then that everyone is a creative, so get creative. Which is why, personally, you might agree and you might not agree, but I think some way, maybe the school system is killing creativity. Just maybe. I'm going to ask in this question in a different aspect. Because if you say, and if we agree that everyone has that creativity or that creative side to whatever he or she is doing. So let's take this instance let's think about this. You see these guys, musicians, the footballers of this world. These people didn't go to a four wall of a school system. But you see them using their creativity, their own ingenuity, and solving problems and making money from it. So, for instance, there's a TED Talk I listened to, which I think a while ago, and I think it's perhaps one of the most listened to TED Talks ever. Sir Ken Robinson, of blessed memory. So he was telling a story. He was using creativity and to talk about how children learn and all of that. He was telling a story about a young girl who never paid attention in class, did not pay any attention at all, but she loved drawing classes. She loved to draw. She loved to, all those, put all of that together and make fancy pictures and all of that. So the teacher will always come and disturb and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? So one of these days, the teacher came around to say, what are you drawing? And she was like, I'm drawing a picture of Jesus. And she's like, the teacher is like, but have you seen Jesus though? Why are you drawing a picture of Jesus? She said, well, people will see what Jesus looks like in a moment when I'm done. That was her response to that question, right? So a teacher would see that child and be like, well, this girl has something going on, has a creative side to it, and probably pull her out or just, enable her. For instance, by now, I think I would have been a Pablo Picasso Jr. because I used to draw as well. Yeah.
Okay.
I used to. No, don't do that. But now I can draw roses and flowers. I used to draw a lot, but my teacher would always see me in class and I was always doodling, but she would just beat me and say, Praise, focus on mathematics, focus on English. Perhaps Praise was just expressing herself and would have been something else. So do you think that the school system is actually killing creativity?
I'm not one to say that school is a scam. I'm not one of those who believe that because I think that the current education system that we have was developed out of a need, and it does serve a purpose. But then at the same time, it's not for everybody, and it cannot be for everybody. So I think that the most important thing is for people, especially parents, to figure out like what is the best for my child at this particular point in time. And like you said, if a child is not paying attention in class and doodling in class, for example, I think, like you said, it's so important for us to just realize or see that what is the unique thing about this child and why are they. So sometimes because of the way education is structured and placed, it looks like it's the thing that you must do to succeed in life. But it's not. We all know somebody or the next person who didn't go to school, who is successful.
So are we saying don't go to school and just find your...
No. I'll say that, like I said, it's not for everybody, but I'll just say that it does form the basis for a lot of things, right? So it's what you do normally when you have a child. You just put them in school, and then depending on how the child is doing in school, then that's how you tailor the child's needs. Not, it has to be this certain way. That is how I think it should be. I think that it's education or going to school, for example, because education can come in various forms, but going to school can be very valuable, right? But I also think that we have to also be very observant of children of the younger generation, to say that if this child is not great at school, then what are they great at?
Because if you actually think about it, you put in all this time. For instance, you study medicine. You do a 6-year course, and ASU helps you along the line, and then adds an extra 2 years for you, and then it's 8 years. And you do all of that only for you to come out and realize, this is not really my part.
Yeah.
Well, I think you'd
have learned a valuable lesson along
the way, right?
It wouldn't be for nothing. I mean, it might not be for the reason that you thought it would be, probably to make money, or to work or to join the workforce. But you would have learned some valuable lessons along the way. You'd have learned something along the way. So yeah.
What did you study in school? Because you're really advocating about
Oh no, I studied mass communication.
Okay, so you're actually doing what you...
Yes.
10, that's actually practicing what they did study in school.
Oh well, I don't think I'm one of 10. I think there are a lot of people, but at the same time, my point is just that it's not for everybody, and I really recognize that. I think that we should just... I'm always of the advocate. I remember there was a time I was having a conversation with some of my friends, and I was like, if I have a child, my child says, and I see that my child has talent in cello, playing cello as an instrument. Yeah. I am not the parent to say you have to study law or you have to study medicine. I will not do that. My job is to make sure that I find the best environment where cello playing would be the most useful, and the child would be the most successful at that. I don't know if you get. So yeah, that's how I see it, right? But even at that, you find that sometimes people who have gone after their creative endeavors, probably musicians, you find that sometimes, because education it's not really just about what's the word? It's not really about just have a livelihood. It's about how you see the world as well. It's about, expanding your perspective.
The exposure.
Yeah, right? So you find that sometimes they still go back to school to learn, not because now they want to. Now, it's not for the reason that you start a child in primary and secondary school. Now it's because they now want to see the world in a different way. They want their worlds to open up and opportunities to open up for them in a different way. So yeah, I think that I don't think that it has to be one or the other, but I feel like
But you see that school has its place.
Yeah, it has its place. Yes.
So I can spend like 5 years in school and come out and become a Pablo Picasso.
Maybe you should go to study art.
Because I feel like I still have, that's the thing now. So that part of me is still there. I know that if only I can just, ignite that one more time. But it's okay. Or maybe the dream is dead entirely.
I think that you're still, I mean, how old are you? It doesn't matter. Even if you're 30, 40, it still doesn't matter.
The thing is, I wouldn't learn the way I would have learned when I was a child. I believe.
Why do you think that?
I know, come on. Children are very, very expressive.
But I think that
sometimes like a particular age, I feel where a child is open to learn almost anything.
I
That's
agree
why the
with you.
Chinese guys, they teach their children coding really early. So imagine allowing a child waste all that year that they would have spent learning something productive that they really want to do, and only to find out maybe when you're in your 30s or your 20s that, oh, at the end of it all, I studied medicine. I keep saying medicine.
But anywhere. Come on.
Nigeria,
Not
So where are they
Nigeria, but
living?
still, but not Nigeria, but
only to come out and then realize that you want to be, say, a footballer. I know there's an age for you to play football.
No, that one, it has passed.
That dream is dead.
It's dead.
You can imagine.
Right, it is dead. But then at the same time, you have to also think. I mean, I don't think you should give up on that now.
You mean drawing?
Yeah, and the reason is because I don't think that your best years are, behind you. I think that your best years are still ahead of you. And the reason is because even as a grown-up, sometimes there's a way that, wisdom and time would give you some perspective that would help you in your journey, in some of the things that you do. That probably if you were doing it as a child, I'll give an example. It's like mathematics, for example. I remember when I was in like junior secondary school, I just didn't get a hang of it. But by the time I got into like SS3, I became way better at it. And it's not because of anything, just because I got like a better understanding of it, right? So sometimes I feel like the wiser you become, the smarter you become as well. It cannot be one or the other.
Okay. The smarter you become. All right. Now, you were saying something at the beginning of this talk, and I'm going to take you back there. You talked about how I think that's the basis of what we're talking about. Everyone is a creative. Right?
Yeah.
So where does professionalism come in? We thank God we're both from the mass communication background. So we always hear this thing called citizen journalist, where you see people who are not as experienced take photos or do reporting and all of that. All the bloggers, you say they're citizen journalists because there's no level of professionalism to what they're doing. We're in a country now, or in an era where almost everyone is a creator. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, right? And they even say content is king, everything. And I was trying to fill out an application. I was trying to figure out, so in the list of job roles there, I could only see content creator, then there was all the old tech roles. And I'm like, what exactly will I say I am now? So I asked someone for, what to call myself. And they said, Praise, you're a content creator. You're creating in the media space, right? But I'm a content creator. That guy on TikTok who is walking his dog, who is shaking, is also a content creator. So how do we help me out here? How do I define, or how do we put some level of professionalism to this thing? Because it's almost as if everyone is a creator.
So I'd say that it depends on really everybody's goals at the end of the day. You can be walking your dog on TikTok as well. If the numbers are what you're concerned about, right? If impact is what it really just depends. But when it comes to professionalism,
Does it not pain you or hurt you sometimes? Because you spend all these years, that's my angle. So you spend all these years again, 10 years getting adequate knowledge. Because right now, broadcast journalists, I would call them creators, right? Yeah. So that's what they are now in the new media. They're also creators in that space. So, and then you see a guy who just comes, hey guys, welcome to my TikTok. So I'm just going to be drinking water up here now. And y'all tell me if you like it. And you see the streams, the views, and you spent all that year, and then you're also a creator. But he's raking in the dollars and the money and, all the relevance and the influence and the following. So, I mean,
I don't have.
But how do you deal? But does that thought come to your head sometimes?
Yeah, it does, to be honest. And
so what do you tell yourself?
What do I tell myself? I tell myself that everybody's journey is different, right? And probably it's a thing. It's you have to also learn to get on the bandwagon. And the reason I would say that is this: you don't have to walk your dog. I think at some point I realized that I might not be the type of person who wants to be on social media 24/7, right? But then how can you use, because these are tools actually. Social media is a tool.
Yeah.
How do you use it to your benefit, either as a broadcast journalist or as a filmmaker? You'd find that there are producers. So for example, I chose producing at some point. I decided to be a producer because I knew that my focus had changed from particularly being in front of the camera to actually being an entrepreneur and like telling stories and changing narratives, right? Because you can be on social media and you'll have the following and all of that, but then film, for example, has its own power, it has its own influence, right? So it's about using the tool of social media in a way that works for you, or say as a producer, for example. So you find producers who have YouTube channels now and making their films and putting their films on YouTube to sell, and you find millions of views as well. So it might not be their face as a producer, but what are they doing? They're changing narratives, they're telling a story, they're influencing people. It's not directly, it's not them now. They use actors. Yes, but they're the ones with the most power. The actor is the one in front of the camera that people can see, but the producer is the person who decides what the story is. Right? So I think it's about looking at social media and looking at what is your own personal goal and what do you want to do with it, because it's a powerful and important tool now. So I see it as a plus. Even if I don't have like the millions of views, I think that, you can have your own impact in your own way, depending on how you use these platforms. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that will settle the dust for now, though. But I still feel a bit of pain. Not pain, but I just feel like, wow.
Start walking
praise.
your dog on TikTok.
Really? So all these skills I've garnered all through these years, I
think it now puts you in a better position because because then you are making videos and
then you're broadcasting voice. This is my dog.
No, you don't have to use the broadcasting voice. People want, social media has the thing of people want
relatable content,
something relatable.
Something
so you
back.
Decide what is relatable for you. You don't have to be the guy that's drinking water or doing gossip. Because personally, I don't like gossip blogs. So you don't have to be the person that's talking. Because I was on TikTok the other day, and then this guy was talking about, he was watching the video. He's always, I can't remember his name, maybe it was saying something. So he would watch a video. He was watching the video of Iyabo Ojo's daughter, like Cecilia Ojo.
Oh my God,
they're her boyfriend, right? Everywhere. And then he was now his own content is he's watching it, then he will not make comments on the thing that he has just seen. So who wants to watch your own comment on this issue? But
he's using his broadcasting knowledge, writing new stories.
He has his own followers, but I know I'm not interested in that. And I'm like, what's the point for me?
Yeah,
that is for me.
But there are people who will be interested in that.
Yeah, so you decide what's it for you, what is relatable for you, what you want to talk about to people, and you find people who are also doing content that is worthy, and they have their following as well. So look at someone like Trevor Noah, for example.
Yeah, Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah. Then this guy on YouTube as well, Mr. Beast or something like that, has a lot of following as well.
So you find educational content as well on YouTube, for example, where somebody's talking about philosophy,
but they find a way
business,
to make these things relatable.
Yeah, exactly. So that is what you should learn and then do as well.
Okay, that's another gold mine. But now we've talked about creativity, and I particularly like the fact that you're big on storytelling, because the one thing we hear creativity. I'm a creative. There's also something that's become a trend. There's no day I go on LinkedIn I don't see storytelling. So it's looking like storytelling is also big now. So for a regular 9-to-5er, doing the mundane tasks, the routine tasks, and all of that, how do we also pick up this trend of storytelling, even in our workplace, in our day-to-day jobs and all of that? How important is storytelling, even for the regular 9-to-5er as well in the workplace? So
I think storytelling became popular because people realized the power of stories. How, if I wanted to tell you something now and I told you, Trace, you will not believe what happened to me this morning.
Right. Okay.
You'll be like, what happened? So it's all about recognizing how much attention you can get once you start telling a story. So I think that every 9-to-5er is working in a business, right?
Yeah.
It's a business you're working in. And that business, what does it do? What is the goal? How do you help people, for example? And who are the people that you help? So you can find stories around the people that you help. Right? Your role. So everybody working within an organization might not be able to, jump on that, but because your role might be different. Maybe your own role is numbers, for example, data journalism or data visualization. So I mean, like, let's not go into that, but then it's like this person is doing numbers. I don't think it's something that everybody within the organization can do, but it's something that an organization, for example, can use and find people who can do that part of the job, because that would not be the most important part of the job.
So very important in our routine business endeavors as well.
Storytelling is really important at that, because who are you connecting with? You're connecting with people. How do you want to get their attention? Through stories. It's just really as simple as that.
All right, welcome back to Workplace Whispers. I still have with me Toyin Ganiyu, and we're talking about creativity, the creative scene, and what you stand to gain. Toyin, let's continue now. We are talking about that a few minutes ago, right? Talk about creativity. Everyone is creative, but we cannot talk about creativity, talk about storytelling without talking about the trends that we're seeing now. I mean, there's AI. I was on YouTube, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday. I was listening to a Michael Jackson unfinished track that was finished with AI. We see videos and all of that done with AI. So with this trend of AI, and in music, in art, what is the future of human creativity? How do we stay?
I think that we overestimate. I remember, there was a time when someone was saying that a friend who's also a filmmaker was saying that AI is going to take his job as a filmmaker. And I think that we overestimate sometimes. AI, like every other digital creation that has been made, is a tool.
Yeah.
Right? It's a tool. It cannot take away what you would think. It can finish a Michael Jackson track according to what it
cloned the entire voice. It sounded like MJ.
Yeah.
It felt like I was in an MJ concert again.
But then it would not sound like Burna. Like, it can sound like Burna Boy, but we have Burna Boy live. Do you want to listen to AI of Burna Boy, or you want to watch Burna Boy live?
AI Burna Boy is way less expensive than Burna Boy. So where does that leave?
When you're saying that if AI Burna Boy is less expensive, but it's still using the likeness of Burna Boy. Burna Boy had to exist for it to use the likeness of Burna Boy. I don't know if you get, for it to create something in the likeness of Burna Boy. So, like, we as human beings have to exist first for it to create something that, I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. Right? Like, in the sense that if Burna Boy didn't exist, or if MJ never existed, what would AI be making? I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So, like, I feel no fear. I see it as a tool.
You don't see any fear at all. Like, someone will just stay and put all the scripts together and make a whole movie without you doing or lifting a finger.
Well, it's kind of so when you're watching an AI movie, you know that, okay, are we watching animation or we're watching live
I
action?
feel the same way about voiceovers too. Sometimes I can actually tell that this voice was AI generated, but some of them I'm like, because you're having different accents, different versions of these AI voices, and you're like, what is that gonna leave me as a voiceover artist in the next 2-3 years from now?
You find something else. I think that evolution is inevitable, right? So even as human beings, you're a voiceover artist today, and tomorrow you're doing something else. You underestimate how much you can change within the next few years.
I think I agree with that. Because, people say AI is taking jobs, but I think it's majorly collaborated with AI.
Exactly. It looks like when what we have currently, the digital world that we currently have, started, and people are like, it's going to take people's jobs, but it's created more jobs. The careers that we didn't have 20-30 years ago, we now have them because of the internet, or because of digital transformation. So I feel no fear, to be honest. I feel no fear.
All right, finally, this is the part where you tell us a secret. I mean, you've had a very interesting career for how many years now? But if you could put all the things that you've done in one sentence, right? One secret, because this is Workplace Whispers. One secret that has kept you where you are and keeps you going, leaving mainstream media and going on your own now, freelancing, entrepreneur, and all of that. What's that one advice or one secret that has kept you where you are?
Honestly, it wouldn't be the career advice that you'd expect. It'd be that.
Like it already.
It'd be that you should learn to stay present. And it might sound a bit, but it's that, because you'll go through ups and downs, especially for the creative. There are times where you're not doing much, like not much is happening, but in actual fact, a lot is happening. What do I mean by that? So there are times where you'll have like a down period. You're not working on any project. Nobody's calling you for a project. You're not, everybody has that. So you have to learn to stay present, to recognize those moments, and also to not, sink down the hole when those times come. Because it's, you see, somebody who's doing a 9 to 5, on the days that they feel bad, on the days that they feel good, on the days that they feel depressed, they have to go.
They have to show up.
They have to go, right? So the way it's, I don't want to use the F word here, but the way it messes with your mind is different from when, like, you're like, when is the next call going to come? What am I even supposed to do now? What's the next idea, big idea I should be working on? And it's not yet come. I like, you don't know yet. But that process, it's becoming. I don't know if you get. So like, you have to learn to stay present and to stay grounded through it all, because it's not the most conventional, right? Yeah.
Stay present. Stay grounded. On the days that you do not want to show up, keep showing up. I think that's basically what you've said, right? Yeah. And I think it's something that we need to hold dear to in whatever thing you're doing, your 9 to 5, your work, your entrepreneurship goals, everything. Just keep showing up. There's always a light at the tunnel. Although someone say, who said tunnel? I don't need a tunnel. All these social media guys. But thank you so much, Tony Gani. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing so much knowledge with us. I had a very interesting time out with you.
Thank you. I had an interesting time as well.
And good luck on all your projects. Monitoring Spirits was already a success, and the other one is coming up.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see them, to enjoy them, because we're all here for it. Let me keep enjoying them. Thank you very much.
You would. Thank you too.
All right, there you have it. Thank you so much for being a part of Workplace Whispers. All right, so do me that favor of subscribing and watching this to the end, okay? Because you're already here, so you watched it to the end. I know, right? Thank you very much. My name is Praise Mba. Until the next episode, keep excelling and keep going. Bye.